20 and State Road 9 beautification. I'm Hope Sestida.
I'm Darian Combs.
And I am Brennan Weimer.
Okay, so what is this project about? So basically this project has to do with 9 and 20, one of the busiest intersections in LaGrange County. Right now we plan to remodel it. We want to take the corners and we want to do something with them instead of just having an empty lot there. This will boost the reputation of LaGrange because people just kind of drive through and they're like, what are those corners? It's kind of there. So we plan to beautify it.
Alright, so the northwest corner idea, this is the parking lot beside the post office. What we wanted to do was we wanted to dig up the concrete that's there already, and we wanted to place a fountain there, and then probably plant some grass and flowers around it and add some benches so that the community could come and they could take their lunch there, or they could relax there and watch as the cars pass by or enjoy the fountain. And as you can tell, that's the parking lot right there, and right now we have the commandments up and a flagpole there.
Okay, so the northeast corner that's directly across the street, we had an idea to do a mural on a brick wall. In the mural, we wanted to incorporate the history of LaGrange. We wanted to actually do a countywide contest between the 3 high schools. We were going to give them kind of a rubric of what we wanted to see the history, and then they were going to actually submit their drawings, and then we planned to pick one and then have it featured on the wall. We met with Jeremy Berge from Focus LaGrange. Focus LaGrange has actually had this idea up for a while, but they haven't really done anything with it yet. They've just been thinking about it.
And Jeremy Berge, he mentioned to us something about putting up a poster board instead because the owner is planning to sell the shop that we went to put the mural on.
So because the owner wanted to sell the building, we weren't really sure if we wanted to go through with the idea just in case if the new owner didn't like the mural or if they didn't want it up. So we
Pretty much, what's important though too is that the idea is there and some of the concepts are there. So if that building does go for sale and the new owner is okay with it, possibly a future group could go ahead and run with that.
So that was your original starting point. You were going to work on that corner first.
Here is a, hope if you could point us to the wall.
Right over here is where we were hoping to put the mural.
It's on an antique building, but yeah, it's currently up for sale.
And we also think that something should happen to this over here, but I mean, we don't know what's in front of all of it. Why did we choose this project in the beginning? I thought it would be a great idea. I was like, hey, this would bring everyone together. If the community would be willing to help donate towards it, they'd be excited about it. And I thought that as a group and as a high school student, how fun it would be to be like, hey, I helped with this. Here is this.
Yeah, going along with Hope, also, I wanted to do it because this is a permanent project. We could drive through LaGrange 30 years from now and hoping it would still be up and still be running. And I just thought that'd be a really cool way to like leave my mark on LaGrange County.
So I kind of got tagged into this a little bit, which I'll talk about later. But the reputation of LaGrange County is just going to be boosted by this. You know, the people that are just driving through now are going to have something to look at and remember about LaGrange. And I think people from other areas, kind of that are around LaGrange, are going to see that and talk about it and say, "Wow, see what they have going on there. That's kind of cool." And also the permanency of it is just really, really neat to be able to say, you know, when you come back to LaGrange 20 years later, hey, I helped with that. That's awesome. So there's a couple benefits that would come with this project and having it go through. Visitors that come to LaGrange for the first time, they're going to see that and just be welcomed by it. It's no longer a bare corner, it's now something that's more beautiful. And it gives our community something to take pride in. You know, you have a nice fountain, you have a nice place to relax. People are going to take pride in that and utilize that and talk about it with their friends and their family and people that travel through. So
We're also hoping that this will encourage other even senior projects or community members to help clean up LaGrange and really make it a nicer place than it is. It is a great town, and it doesn't give all the credit it deserves. We really could clean it up and make it look very nice.
I think too, with businesses in town, locally owned businesses, they see like, okay, we're putting something in here at 9 and 20, and hopefully they would see that and see, wow, that looks really nice. I'm gonna make my business look better, and just kind of gets the ball rolling, and it's like a snowball effect, and pretty soon all these little businesses are doing their own beautification, and so that'd be really cool to see.
And it'll help economic growth in LaGrange County. Who this impacts, as we stated, it would impact the community. It impacted the visitors who came through LaGrange County. They'd see it and they'd be like, hey, LaGrange County, they're starting to pick up. They're starting to look better. And then it'll also help the local businesses. Alright, so this is how our timeline looked in the beginning of our project. And so we thought we'd show it to show you what we had hoped to get done, but that it did not. It wasn't.
Our first benchmark, when it was just me and Hope, we actually met with Ryan Kroc, and me and Hope talked about different ideas we could come up with and do to beautify it. So we kind of generated a list with him, and we kind of narrowed it down to what we have now.
And then our second goal was to meet with a landscaping company. We did end up meeting with a landscape company, Dave's Landscaping out of Mishawaka, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on. And then our third benchmark was the county-wide art contest, and to get that rolling, but that never happened because of the Focus LaGrange group not knowing about the owner of the business.
So to talk about like what we wanted to have finished, pretty much we had a general concept in mind of a fountain surrounded by some benches and stuff, and so us being high school students, we weren't really sure what kind of time that would take or what the process was for that. So we were assuming maybe we could start building in April, but as it turned out, it's going to take a little bit longer than that. So just after some follow-up meetings and kind of gathering some information, it looks like May of 2018 is reasonable for the start of construction, and that would be after all of our finances are taken care of, which we're receiving help through like Ryan Kroc, the EDC, the Community Foundation. So once those people, Ryan can kind of help get all the finances taken care of, that's when the construction can actually start.
Alright, so our recent steps towards our goals, the reaching out to the community and landscaping businesses. I remember spending a day and I just called a bunch of businesses and I was like, hey, would you be willing to donate to this project? Would you be willing to help out? Some of them didn't get back to me, but Dave's Landscaping, he did get back to me. He's like, hey, we'd like to help with that. What's happening? And so we scheduled a meeting with them as a group, and we met on a Saturday morning, and he overlooked what was happening. He's like, I wasn't sure what was going to happen here, and we kind of told him our idea. Ryan wasn't able to make that meeting, and he was busy with what was happening in Shipshewana and a bunch of other things, so it was just 3 high school students and a big professional business guy.
We kind of went over what we wanted and more of the reality of what we could do and some of the estimated cost. So from there, we ended up setting up a meeting with Ryan to kind of follow up. He got back in contact with us and he wanted to follow up on things. And then he actually met with Brennan.
Right, I met with him here, and we gave him, David told us in his estimate, he guessed about $30,000 for the project that we had in mind. And then after meeting with Ryan kind of tossed some of his ideas at it, and he said that he had a couple local people as far as engineering corporations that he wanted to talk to give maybe a mock-up for the project that we had. So that's kind of how the meeting with Ryan looked. We were just kind of exploring the options and using Ryan's connections for that.
Yeah, and Ryan didn't really get back to us after a meeting. Between this and this, it was kind of like a couple months. So it was really hard to get the project going when we didn't have Ryan with us. And so, but Ryan was able to, he utilized his contact of Triad. It's an engineering corporation, and they kind of owed him a favor. And so what he ended up doing was he asked them, hey, could you make a mock-up of this idea? He used our ideas and some
He
of
just
his.
kind of explained to them what we had in mind, and then Triad actually set up. Yeah.
They kind of gave us some mock-ups.
Yeah, I thought it was
Just
on the
some-
slide. Oh man. Oh no. Okay. Okay. So this is the current status of the lot. As you can see, the only thing that's changed is the commandments in the flagpole.
And that was Roger Dean. And Roger Dean's the owner of the lot. He is a guy who owns a couple of sable lots, I believe, in the connecting states around us. And he owns this lot, but he hasn't done much with it, and so he's willing to donate it to the town of LaGrange. And so the only issue, of course, would be the Ten Commandments, but we'll get into that later. Yes? Yeah, here we
So
are.
here's our actual mock.
Yeah, this is the mock-up that Triad helped make. And as you can see, this is the fountain right here, and there are a couple benches around it. And then right here would be some parking spaces for people to park, and it's gonna be diagonal because this lane right here is really thin, and it's gonna be hard to.
Hope, point out where is State Road 20 then?
Oh, State Road 20 is.
20, it's 20, and we got 9.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
And then the Ten Commandments, Brian put them right there, but if it's town-owned, we can't have any type of religious affiliation with that, and so they're not quite sure if they're gonna have the Ten Commandments up, but we'll have to talk with Roger Dean about that.
he said it mostly just depends on like the actual size of the property at hand. It may be far enough over that it's not an issue, but if it is, we'll have to work around that when that comes.
We also have the LED sign. If you want to point that out.
Yeah, the LED sign is right here.
Yeah.
Stop lighting, we're trying.
Oh. Yeah, that'd be like.
So here you can kind of see the LED sign a little bit more. So what we plan to do, there would be current events on the sign, possible meetings, town meetings. And then we also have the idea to pay to have like community foundations or like
Organizations.
Yeah, organizations
To promote
announce.
themselves or to announce their business.
And pretty much the whole theme of the sign and the fountain and kind of the walkway around, we wanted to go with a brick theme just to kind of match LaGrange. Brick is kind of traditional for LaGrange, and so that's kind of what you get to look at it there, just kind of see.
And here are our cost estimates. This is the total right here. It's kind of a big number, especially for 3 high school students to raise. And so, but we talked to Ryan about it, and he said some of the stuff we could take out, like the LED sign. Lakeland had a good relationship with the people who did the LED sign out here, and so he thought possibly if we talked to them about it and we told them about the senior project, they'd be willing to donate part of it or like
Or at
take a
least do a
percentage off.
generous discount.
Yeah.
So, and he said he thinks that a lot of the planting, the trees, shrubbery, he said that stuff is very, very easily donated. So that again takes out a bit of the cost. And then another
Also-
thing was the bricks. Yeah.
Also the idea with the bricks, how we wanted to have a bricks theme. Ryan gave us the idea of people donating so much money and then having their names on the brick. So we thought that would definitely bring a lot of money into it.
So if that went through, we put something out there that said, if you donate X amount of dollars, your family name's gonna be put on the brick, and then they'll be established and put on the side. So.
Yeah, and Ryan kept on telling us, like, this whole entire year, he was like, don't worry about the price, just throw out ideas, just go at it.
Yeah, he really was excited to get the project going. He said it's a great idea and he wanted to do something with that lot for a while, since it's just been sitting there for 10 years now.
Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, I kind of got tagged into this project a little bit. I did have an original project of my own that kind of ran into some difficulties, which I'll go ahead and talk to you about. So my original idea was entitled The Laker Space, and Mr. Taylor was actually the one that brought this up to me. I kind of talked to Mr. Allball about it. And so kind of at the beginning of the school year, we were looking at this building possibly to buy as a school and to turn into something that was more economic, clean, and productive for our students and for our community. So the Laker Space is kind of bounced off of a maker space, which if you're not familiar with what that is, it's kind of just a place of pure creativity. For our purposes, we could put possibly kilns, we have 3D printers, art equipment, and power tools down there. Just a place where kids could go and make their own ideas, be creative, and kind of get a feel for entrepreneurship in a way. And so that's kind of what my vision was for that. And so what I did was I went to the site, I measured out the building, and I wasn't actually able to get to the interior of the building, but I was told that if we completely gutted it, I could make a floor plan from there. And so I had a CAD model all made up, and that's kind of what this is. It's just more of a, I mean, the inside is more clean and it's highly functional is for what my original plan was for that. I'm going to talk to you about it here. So my floor plan, this is like a garage door that we could use to put trucks in and bring shipments in if we had to. And there's like a little office area, retail area too, with a bathroom and a couple offices in the back for whoever would manage that. And then here again is a view of the side with the roof on. So the technical difficulties that came with this project was I had started my CAD model that you saw there. I wasn't able to finish it. Our school actually decided to upgrade our CAD programs. And so when they did that, the program that we use is called Horizon View, and it connects our laptops to a remote computer somewhere. But the issue is that after they did that update, I could no longer open my CAD in that program. They would try to update it to the 2017 version, and it would crash. And so I'd open my project, and there'd just be lines protruding out of the building, and there'd be black spots in it, and it was just kind of a huge headache. And Mr. Taylor Mr. Taylor did a really, really good job of like trying to help me with that. He did everything he could. He got a hold of our tech guys and sent them several emails, and they're pretty much what it came down to is there's nothing they could do about it. And so it was really, really unfortunate. But again, I just got tagged into this group, and so just kind of learning to run with it as it came to me. So.
Final reflection. My final reflection of this project was that not everything happens at once. It takes a lot of time, and time is a necessity and tool for what you want to get done. And so what I realized is that time management is a big thing, and that I have to be able to manage my time to get the things that I want to get done. And that was the biggest conflict, I think, is that Ryan had his own schedule and we had our own schedule. Being able to meet and contact each other, it was very difficult. And so our final resolution is that we made the mock-up, and that's what we're supposed to do.
My final reflection was it's about the process of the product. We had a long process, and although we really wanted to have it done by this year, it'll get done, and it's going to be really cool to see. Patience is key. We did like hopes that our schedules weren't the same as Ryan, so that definitely took some time. Go big or go home. This was a really big project. It was really overwhelming, but it was really cool to see, and I think it's going to be really neat to see it actually all fall into place. Different routes are very important. It's important to have a lot of flexibility because not everything is going to work out how you want it to, but just to definitely keep going with it and try to find different routes.
Some of my biggest takeaways were like the value isn't necessarily in the product. In this case, we didn't get a product just yet, but the process along the way was amazing. We're picking up skills, working with businesses, communication, we're learning finance skills, and so just all that at once and kind of learning to run with my project into this project, it was a neat lesson for me to learn. And so that kind of was where that adaptation comes from. I mean, changing projects in the middle was kind of rough. I know for my original project, we weren't 100% sure, even as a school, if we were going to be getting that building or what it would be for. And so I had a bunch of people coming to me with their ideas for what that building could be. And I think it was important for me to consider all those possibilities and try to work everything in. I know Miss Allen was really intrigued about the idea of putting ag stuff in there. So that's where that garage area came from. I was like, well, maybe. So, and the biggest thing too with that is that it's okay to ask for help, to reach out to people in the community, because at the end of the day, we're high school students, and there's people in the community that have a lot more connections and have a lot more experience and knowledge than we do.
So from now, we plan to have the meeting with
Ryan.
Yes, on Wednesday. And then from there, we're going to present it to a bunch of foundations,
Possible contributors. So.
And then from there, we plan to actually hand our senior project off to the class next year, so they can pick up and they can start making fundraisers, so they can actually have the money in place and be ready to start building by May of 2018. Thank you.
love to have something in there to help give money towards that. So it's just getting the ball rolling
Yeah, definitely.
and getting some other kids involved. That'll just broaden who got to work on it.
Do you have students in mind who are like, yes, we'll take this on and carry the baton? Have you recruited yet?
We haven't recruited anybody yet, but I'm sure Mrs. Severson is definitely gonna push that out. Like, look, this is what they have done, they already have like the mock-up ready, you guys have to make some fundraisers, so I'm sure Mrs. Severson.
Yeah, I think our intention on that is we're just beginning the scheduling process, so we'll get a list of who's signed up for senior project classes, who's in EDD, who's in BI. And then I'm going to try to, last summer, Mr. Taylor and I met with Ryan and the CDC and in probably early August, and I think we're going to do that earlier this year, probably not next week, but the week after that, and then we'll put we'll get that ball rolling for maybe a particular group, because to make this, hopefully work by May of 2018, that group needs to get that ball rolling going into the summer. So.
Because that leads into my next question. So how, obviously, time, with school year is ticking away, you're going to be moving on to
Yeah.
other things in your lives. How do
We
you
wanna stay
stay connected?
Yeah,
how do you
right.
plan
We
to
wanna,
stay
we for sure wanna keep in touch with the other group however we can, whether that be all of us being included in it, like a Google Doc, and just keeping
Even
updated on
coming and
that.
helping at
Sure.
fundraising events.
I mean, I won't be far away, so there could be times where I could come talk to them. But yeah, at the end of the day, we for sure wanna have our names attached to it as well, but like we said, it's gonna take another group, to finish what we've started.
I don't know if the course is being offered or not, but often Miss Allen has a landscaping horticulture class that there might be kids too, or that class might join to help plant or during time or something.
Right.
That's a good point.
With that.
Yep.
I mean, that's part of their curriculum too, along with the other stuff.
Yeah, or that'd be a good community service project too, is having kids help, everything gets delivered, everybody shows up on a Saturday and does all the planting and landscaping.
And I think that's where Ryan was coming at, the idea that 109,000 is a high-end price.
Yeah.
When you take away,
Well, and there was a 10% contingency thrown at that too, which he said
Sure.
is probably not gonna be a factor. I think a lot of that cost, he told us, would be eliminated just through donations, and then labor costs would be reduced too, because like you said, we can get students to go out there and volunteer rather than pay workers to come. So
You guys said something in one of your slides about how this will help other businesses. How will that help other businesses? How will this help other
Well,
businesses?
hopefully they would see the beautification project going on, and then that would inspire them to do something with their own business. And in theory, that would attract more people to their
Yeah,
business.
even from there, beautifying it hopefully would attract more people to come and visit. And more people coming and visiting our town would be more people going to our local businesses, more of a profit for them, so.
It might attract new business owners to come
Right,
in.
yeah.
They see this.
Pretty much the more people that come here, the more revenue is
Yeah.
sitting around the door.
So I would definitely touch on that a little bit instead of just having that up there on a slide. When that
Okay.
comes up, I would explain to the people that you're gonna meet with on Wednesday morning exactly what you mean by that.
Right.
And then also, one other thing is, who's gonna keep this up? In other words, who's gonna be pulling the weeds and, the basic upkeep once this thing is a reality?
Ryan mentioned that, and he's like, if the town takes it over, then they'll be the ones to take care of it.
So if they take that lot over,
So
then.
probably
Right.
whoever does the courthouse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It'd be the same maintenance.
Yeah.
yeah, and I would, Mr. Abba is really, really good at the whole marketing idea, but the town of LaGrange has done a lot of things to cutify itself, from improving those sidewalk curbs and putting little flower baskets out. So this is like the cherry on top of the cake or whatever.
That's LaGrange, I think that's a really good place you guys need to talk to them, because
Yeah.
they're really into beautifying downtown.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I would mention to you guys Wednesday that the next wave of senior project kids are going to be coming in and hitting the ground running, hopefully right when school gets out. So.
Awesome.
It was meant to be
You guys
that
have
we were
any
adopted.
questions?
Kind of the same theme. You would have been beautifying that building by redesigning it, so.
Britain's done really good. Come ahead.
Yep.
Good luck, good luck.
Well, thank you for your
Thanks.
time.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.